What's up, guys? We're already starting. Sorry, I'm late. If you missed it, I was on Defense Diaries with Bob and Allie. Wait, what just happened? Wait a second. There's a problem? There's no audio? God, sorry, I'm not sure why there's no audio. Hold on. There's a. Long story short, there's a break. I don't know why there's no audio coming from my. Hold on.
More like 20 more minutes is.
So it looks like there's a issue.
Clipped has been slowed down and is inconsistent with the speed of the original surveillance footage. And so we're attempting to line them up so that we can verify one way or the other whether or not that's correct. And if so, to take appropriate action. So I don't know if the court can give us just maybe 5 more minutes.
Well, perhaps more like 20 more minutes is more reasonable. If you have to correct something, because first of all, you have to determine whether the representation from counsel is accurate. Then if it is accurate, you have to try to sync it.
Well, Your Honor, it is clear that at least one, if not two of the clips have been severely slowed down and then speeded up. Question is whether that's a glitch in the original or whether the copy that somebody. So that's what because that would otherwise not be in evidence. That's the issue.
Perhaps what we should do is take a recess until 2:30. If the problem has been resolved before then, one can notify the clerk, and the clerk can notify the court, and the court can come back into session. So we'll take our recess until 2:30 unless the problem is resolved.
Yes, Judge.
All right, guys. Looks like we have a break until 2:30. Does anyone have any confirmation if the Alaska case is starting? Let me look into that. I am a little overwhelmed right now. Sorry. Thanks. All right. I Thanks, Amy. I'm just checking the Alaska page that I've been following to see if they have any updates. It's very hard to get updates on this case. As far as who's going to stream it, if it's going to be streamed, I mean, they should be starting at 3, but I don't have anything I don't even really have. There's one. I'll try to check the person. There's one person that is covering this that might have tweeted it out. Let me see if she did.
You got a little bit of a
She has not tweeted anything out. I could show you the clip from this morning if you haven't already seen it. Hopefully, this won't be it.
you got a little bit of a preview of the subject matter from the questionnaires that you filled out. But is there anybody who
This is going to be the defense attorney in the Alaska case, Timothy Ayer.
when you sat here today and Judge Saxby read the indictment and read all the charges, like, wow, that's a lot. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I can handle this.
An SD memory card said to contain video of a horrific murder is a key piece of evidence in the case against accused murderer Brian Smith. Now, Smith was in an Anchorage courtroom for the start of his trial today. 15 of the 16 people needed for the jury were chosen, 12 jurors plus 3 alternates. Rebecca Paulshow was at the courthouse today and has an update for us now.
Evidence presented in this trial is expected to be graphic and disturbing, and at least one recording the images allegedly show a naked woman being beaten and strangled in a hotel room, charges say. So today, a lot of the questions to possible jurors focus on how would someone react to graphic video.
All rise for the jury.
Monday morning, dozens of people arrived at the Anchorage courthouse to report for jury duty. Over the next several hours, they were asked a series of questions.
So what we're looking for here are the jurors who could sit on a criminal case that involves allegations of murder, sexual assault, that may involve some graphic images, and it can last for the entire month of February.
The underlying question is, do you have something in your personal makeup or history that makes you uniquely situated that you shouldn't be a fair, or you couldn't be a fair juror?
As the defense and prosecution peppered the prospective jurors in this case, the man at the center of this trial, Brian Smith, watched on. Smith is charged with murders of 30-year-old Kathleen Jo Henry and 53-year-old Veronica Abuchak. Henry died during the first week of September 2019, strangled and killed in a hotel room. After his arrest for Henry's murder, police say Smith confessed to shooting Abuchak sometime in 2017 or 18. This case gained national attention when a person turned over.
I like this shot where they just put a thumb drive on the snow as if this was the one that they found. This is some good editing right here.
Over to police an SD card labeled homicide at Midtown Marriott.
You've heard the nature of the charges. They're clearly very, very serious.
Evidence presented in this trial is expected to be graphic and disturbing. There'll be explicit photos and videos, and a case expected to last almost all month.
We'll be able to find out who needs to come back tomorrow.
By Monday afternoon, 15 people were chosen for jury duty, with one more to be added Tuesday morning. And those already.
So that's where we're at on that case. They're supposed to start at 3, but I cannot find any updates if they actually picked a jury. If anyone sees anything, then let me know. I haven't seen anything. If you came in late to Troconis, they were having technical difficulties, and they're supposed to be back in 11 minutes. Hey guys, if you're coming in late, they were supposed to start and we're waiting 10 minutes now until they may have some technical difficulties. We are trying to see if the Alaska case is in fact starting at 3. I haven't seen any. Hello, Cindy. Thanks for being here. Charlotte, Rabbit, Alligator Ashley, Sheila, Christine on Kick, Blair, Katie Girl, DJ T, Elizabeth L, Shelly, Drew, Babe is here, MJ, Dizzy, Zafiro, Catherine, Maui Swift, Grandkids Galore, Amy, thank you for giving me the heads up on Twitter about the Crumbly verdict. If you missed it, I went over on Defense Diaries with Bob and Allie. We talked about that for a little bit. Amy Brooks, Amy Albers, Afy, Shannon L, Patty, Donnie, Todd, thanks for being here. Lisa, the sober hipster, Bonnie Bailey, Sweet Lou, Stevie. Did I see Dizzy's comment? Mike is here. Oh, snap. Dizzy. That is amazing. Now let's just Court TV has been approved as a media outlet for the Alaska case. Now let's just hope that it's not on their stupid website, that they put it on their YouTube. Because remember when we tried to watch Zach Latham's trial on their website? That was a nightmare. Thank you, Dizzy. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Anne, Catherine, Jonathan, Sarah. There is something in front of my camera. Thank you. I had to use my other webcam when I was on Bob's stream because it doesn't even matter. Carrie Louise, Catby, Funkarella, Chloe and CH, Missy Mayhem, Helen, Carly Rooks, Sky Troop, Kiefer T-Rex, Tunkle Funkle, that's right. If you guys missed my Tunkle rant, boy, did you miss something. Stacy Hanlon, Shannon L, Mooney, Debbie, Mom and Dad, Christine, I think, looks like we got movement. Dizzy is dope. Agree, Drew, agree. Not a dope, she is dope, like good. Lily Flores, Mia Beto. Court TV got their head out of their asses and realized this is a case that people want to see. I'm surprised Long Crime didn't. Holly Berry. This is a good time while we're rating. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, guys. I do my absolute best to get to comments on all my social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, emails. I got carrier pigeons bringing me notes. I do my best to get to all of them. I'm sorry if I don't respond to a comment or an email or a DM. I'm on like 6 different social media. It's hard for me to keep up. So if I miss you, I apologize. There's a pigeon outside right now with a note. I had told him to fuck off. I'm busy. So I don't know what to tell you. I try. Dizzy says they were literally approved in the last hour, approved according to his docket. Excellent. Thank you. Super sticker from Helen, $5, 5 pounds it looks like.
I said money! Money!
Thank you so much, Helen. And right after that, Helen Steiner says you're doing a great job. Keep on rolling. Thank you, Helen Steiner. There's Brad. Check out the big brains on Brad. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks, Mike. It's always good to go on with Bob and Allie. If you guys missed it, I felt like Mom and Dad were fighting as Bob and Allie didn't agree, and I was.
I said money! Money!
Helen Steiner, thank you so much for the super chat. Helen Steiner, you're awesome. Thank you.
Are there still concerns with the video?
Judge, I think we've worked through most of them, and I expect that we'll be fine.
Thank you. We can bring the jury in.
Famous last word.
Catherine gifting out a membership which goes to Amy Brooks. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Fuck with you, buddy.
We love you. Thank you,
We're
Catherine.
gonna be pals. We're gonna wrestle around.
Brad said he wanted to help build a chair and a sheet for protection at Bob's. Yeah, it got scary over there, guys. I was scared. Their mom and dad were arguing, and I was in the middle. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Counsel stipulate, please.
Yes, Judge.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, because we are starting a bit late, we probably will not take our next recess until 3:45.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Mr. Gamini, where we left off, we were discussing a
For those who are coming in late, the verdict was guilty for Jennifer Crumbly. If you missed it, guilty.
conversation that you had had on May 28th with Mr. Doulos and the defendant. Do you recall those questions?
Yes.
You testified earlier that the defendant had taken your keys from 80 Mountain Spring Road on May 24, 2019. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did the subject of the defendant having your keys come up during this conversation on May 28th?
Yes, it did.
Can you explain to the jury how it came up?
Doulos was asking me, how do I come back from New Canaan, and how do we met and all that on that day? And I told him that once I get to 80 Mountain Spring Road to pick up my truck, there was no key for it. And he told me not to mention that, not to mention that Michelle had a key.
So you brought up the fact that your key wasn't in Tacoma, and Mr. Doulos told you not to mention that Michelle had the key?
Yes.
What were his exact words, if you recall?
I can't remember. Let's not mention that, or something like that.
You testified earlier that there was some conversation about which vehicle you were going to take, and that it was agreed that you would take the Cherokee. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Before taking possession of the Cherokee, did you do anything with respect to your Toyota?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what you did?
So I load, I believe, some mirrors and some plumbing fixtures, maybe shower heads. They were delivered to the office. I loaded into the Jeep so I can take him to New Canaan. And then I went back to my Tacoma to grab my tools and put them in the Jeep. And then when I look back behind the seats, I discover a red bucket with blue, I think it was hoodie or jacket.
Where exactly was the bucket?
Behind one of the seats.
Behind one of the seats?
Yes.
Do you recall which seat?
I don't.
Had you seen this bucket before?
No.
Did you put the bucket, obviously not in the Tacoma if you'd never seen it before?
No, I didn't.
Describe for the jury exactly what was in the bucket.
Your Honor, I think we need a sidebar.
What did I miss? Why are we just staring at this guy? Sorry, just had to get a water. What did Brian Callen? Why is Brian Callen just sitting there? If you guys don't know, I've said before, I am a master doppelganger finder, and this man looks like Brian Callen.
Weeks ago, now months ago, well, I should say days ago, there will be times when there is a discussion about evidence that should be heard outside of the presence of the jury because there is no agreement as to whether certain evidence should be admitted, and counsel wish to argue whether certain evidence should be admitted. The reason you would be excused.
I just got a $10 PayPal from our wonderful mod that we love so much, Janet A. Popping in to say hello because I'm missing my J-Bo Nation friends. Hope you all are having a great day. I'm listening when I can sneak an AirPod in my ear. We love you, Janet. Thank you so much.
Is so that you do not hear what that evidence is. So right now we are going to excuse you. This is not a recess. Counsel will make their presentation, the court will rule, and then you will be brought back in.
This is a good question from Alligator Ashley. We are at the point where they're mentioning Michelle. This gentleman said that Michelle Troconis was cleaning up at the house when she never had before in 2 years.
Have you heard, Judge?
Yes.
I think the witness needs to be excused for this, Your Honor.
No objection.
Dwayne, you.
The day Jennifer went missing, or the day after, I forget. Jennifer was cleaning when she had never cleaned for 2 years since he had known her. He also said she had the keys to the Tacoma at one point, the Tacoma that was used to get rid of the body.
You may wait outside.
See ya, Pavel.
Well, first, what the court will do, because at the sidebar, Attorney Schoenhorn began to state his position, so the court will allow Attorney Schoenhorn to speak first.
Yes, Your Honor. What I believe we're about to get into is the discovery of a blue hooded sweatshirt that was found in the red bucket by this witness, who then said that he took it out of his truck and placed it in the laundry room. That's my recollection. This was the subject of extensive litigation, in fact, delayed this case for almost a year. I was represented, just for the court's edification, because I don't know if Your Honor was involved back then. I think it was still Judge White who was handling the case at that time. The issue arose that a hooded sweatshirt was turned over by then attorney Tara Knight, now Superior Court Judge Knight, to the state police. It was tested by the state police, a navy blue hooded sweatshirt, and it had the, if I recall correctly, the DNA in the neck and maybe in the hood, but in the interior of that sweatshirt. Mr. Tumiani denied that that was his sweatshirt, but then later, after I don't know if he consulted with his attorney or not, later said, yes, I actually have that exact same brand in my closet, and that could have been the sweatshirt, but his recollection is that the one that was shown to him was darker than the one he remembers turning in. Now, what makes this more difficult is the state moved to disqualify me because, if Your Honor may recall from the record, it turned out that in the box that was turned over to by Attorney Knight to the state police, there was a letter of conveyance from my office to Attorney Knight regarding at least some of the items that were in that box. This led to their motion to disqualify me, my motion to therefore disqualify the state's attorney's office because it involved the disclosure and use of an attorney-client privileged communication that I submitted was by my client. As a result, I retained an attorney, Attorney Gulash from Bridgeport, who came here, was involved in extensive negotiations. I think the state, Mr. Forensic, brought in a retired state's attorney from Danbury because of the potential of conflict in their office to negotiate. There were several discussions that I was not privy to. I'll just note, I was here for the court matters, but there were a lot of negotiations going on. And as I understand it, I believe there was some writing, which I don't have with me, that it would be as if that sweatshirt did not exist and the case would proceed without us proceeding with regard to that. My recollection is Mr. Gulash made clear that if a sweatshirt was brought up, that agreement would therefore no longer be in effect, and I'd be allowed to cross-examine this witness regarding that. I hear Mr. McGinnis at Sidebar saying, well, that's not his understanding. That's my understanding, and I had an attorney. So if we're going to get into this issue, then I would obviously require the presence of Mr. Gulash regarding the agreement, some of which I think was put on a record, if I'm not mistaken.
Mr. Goulash?
And having said that, there's a separate issue that they're not going to be able to tie in that sweatshirt. It's completely irrelevant, but to the extent that it might be, I would be entitled now here in the whatever week of trial, third, fourth week of trial, just cross-examine this witness about his denial of knowledge about that and how his DNA was in the interior of it, and then later admitting, well, it very well could have after he checked and he realized he had the identical brand sweatshirts in his closet. So that's where we're at. That's why I'm objecting, and I think that it's certainly prejudicial. It's certainly going to raise issues that I
could be totally wrong, but I take it that this sweatshirt that Pavel found was Michelle's, but I guess we'll see.
I want to keep in mind, I denied and disagreed that there was a conflict of interest that would require me to be disqualified. But that started a very lengthy, months-long process with negotiations between then Special State's Attorney Sedensky and Mr. Goulash. So here we are. Here we're about to get into something that I submit, is certainly irrelevant to my client, but it will be clearly prejudicial since I would be prevented from cross-examining this witness about his claim with regard to that sweatshirt and his prevarication to the police about it until he gave it some additional thought.
Well, is that agreement in writing?
Judge, if I really want to be heard, Judge.
Well, the court also wants to be heard.
I understand, but
Not but, counsel. The court is going to be heard.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Ooh, we are getting spicy, folks. We are getting spicy right now.
Is the agreement in writing?
it absolutely is.
You may be heard.
Thank you, Judge. And I apologize. I just, as I sit here listening to these arguments, I think it completely distorts the record. And so I apologize to the court for my riding the wave of zeal. But I'd like
Riding the wave of zeal? What the fuck is going on? Riding the wave of zeal. Now that is something.
to just clear up the record once and for all as to this particular issue. In March of 2021, Tara Knight, then Attorney Knight, now Judge Knight, reached out to then Chief State's Attorney Colangelo and indicated that she had evidence related to the Doulos case. Arrangements were made for certain police personnel to go pick up that evidence. When the police personnel arrived at Tara Knight's office, she had a box and she indicated that she was turning over the evidence to them. When they opened the box, there was a letter from Mr. Schoenhorn to Judge Knight in the box, and there was a blue sweatshirt along with some tools. Now, at that point, Attorney Schoenhorn never claimed attorney-client privilege. The evidence was seized. It was subsequently submitted for DNA testing, and Pavel Gumieni was considered, I believe, I don't have the report in front of me, a contributor on that particular blue sweatshirt. Incidentally, the defendant's hair was found on that sweatshirt along with her DNA being on the tools that were in the box, which I think is also relevant here.
Oh, shit.
Attorney Schoenhorn indicated that he would seek to introduce that sweatshirt in evidence in support of, I guess, his theory that Pavel Gumieni was the bicycle rider that was seen on surveillance footage in Exhibit 386, which the court has not yet received into evidence. There's surveillance footage from New Canaan in which a bicyclist rides from the general direction of Waveney Park towards Jennifer Doulos' home. It's our theory of the case that that is Mr. Doulos on his childhood bicycle. I told Mr. Schoenhorn at that point that if you seek to introduce this sweatshirt, which was identified as State Police Exhibit 591 through 596, I believe were the exact item numbers, that it was my position that he would be a witness in the case because he was a necessary witness in the chain of custody at that point. He insisted that he would not concede, that he would not introduce that sweatshirt in the case. We proceeded to file a motion to disqualify him on the grounds that he was likely to be a witness given his stated intent to introduce that sweatshirt into the case. He then hired, he also misstates what Pavel Gumieni said. Pavel Gumieni never said he owned that exact brand. I believe he said, and I'm relying on my colleagues here, Judge, he indicated that he owned similar shirts to that, and he has had similar shirts looking to the one shown to him. So there was never any identification as to the brand. Mr. Schoenhorn hired Attorney Goulash to represent him in a potential disqualification proceeding. Attorney Goulash, for months, negotiated with myself and Attorney Sedensky to basically get us to agree to not introduce the Weed Street footage, which shows the bicyclist, in exchange for Mr. Schoenhorn not using the sweatshirt during the trial. We refused. And we were prepared to proceed with the disqualification hearing.
This is absolutely wild right now. Holy shit, what is going on?
And you'll recall, Judge, because we actually filed a motion to seal the courtroom. and the court granted the motion to seal the courtroom. Attorney Goulash, at the 11th hour, reached an agreement, and I believe I was actually part of this agreement. I was certainly the one standing there on the record when we effectuated it, that Mr. Schoenhorn would agree to not use that sweatshirt, which was identified as Exhibit 591, or any of the items identified as 591 through 596, i.e., the items that were seized at Tara Knight's office. And in exchange for that, the state indicated, well, that he's no longer a necessary witness. Judge White did an extensive canvass of the defendant on the record, and she waived any potential conflict from Attorney Schoenhorn conceding that he would not use items 591 through 596. There was never an agreement, ever, where the state said that we would not mention the red bucket or the sweatshirt inside of it during testimony. And the reason for that, Judge, is because there is no way, absent Mr. Schoenhorn, I guess, potentially testifying, to say that the sweatshirt which was in that bucket is the same sweatshirt that Mr. Schoenhorn turned over to the state police in March of 2022 through Tara Knight. So I think, quite frankly, this is a huge distortion of the record. The stipulation should be in the clerk's file. I believe...
This is wild right now. We went from having Borophyll 10 days in a row to this.
And I'm trying my best to stay calm. I am saying this in the strongest of terms, that this is a complete distortion of the record. And I'm just going to pass forward the actual agreement in writing, which begins with stipulation regarding state police evidence items 591 through 596.
Thank you. And this is full already, correct?
Well, Judge, that was a stipulated agreement between the parties. I don't know if it was received.
Out of another proceeding.
Correct, sir. Yes.
The stipulation is in 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph reads, and first the court will put this stipulation into context. The stipulation is an agreement that addresses whether Attorney Schoenhorn is likely to be a necessary witness at trial. That's the context of the stipulation. The defendant, this is paragraph 1, the defendant will not under any circumstances introduce any evidence during trial in the above captioned matters concerning a box or its contents which were seized at then Attorney Tara Knight's office on March 23rd, 2021. And logged into evidence as state police items 0591 through 0596. And the parties will proceed as though the contents of the box did not exist. Now, so that the court is clear, the bucket and the hoodie are not contents of the box? That's a question.
There was never any evidence that they were, Judge. And so, to be clear, the state does not concede that that's the same sweatshirt. As a matter of fact, when Pavel Gumini was interviewed about it, he indicated that the sweatshirt that he saw was darker in color. And so the only evidence is it wasn't the same sweatshirt.
And there was no bucket in the box, correct?
There was not, sir.
Well, as this was a stipulation between the parties, the court is not going to litigate.
No bucket in the box is going to be my follow-up to my single pussy on the phone.
The stipulation.
Babe, like that
This is
one.
a matter of record. The representation by the state, it is that the bucket and the hoodie were not contents of the box. That's the representation of the state. Attorney McGinnis, specifically as an officer of the court.
Well, I just want to I don't want to interrupt, I just want to be clear. There's no evidence that it was, and so that's my position. And the defense specifically indicated that they would not, under any circumstances, introduce those items. And we offered something in exchange for that. But what we offered was not, we did not indicate we would not mention the bucket or the sweatshirt that was in the bucket at all. What we offered was to withdraw our motion.
May I respond?
Yes.
At sidebar, I did not say I intended to introduce the contents of the box. What I said at sidebar is this opens the door to me cross-examining this witness about him being shown a sweatshirt that had been tested by the lab. He was told it had his DNA in it, but he claimed he didn't recognize it. He doesn't know how his DNA got on it. And then later, I don't remember, I'd have to go back and look at the report. At a later time, he contacted the police, I can't remember directly or through his attorney, that said, well, wait a minute, I went back and I looked at my sweatshirts that I have in my closet and I realized that very well could be my sweatshirt. So it goes to the right to cross-examine the witness. I and my attorney took the position that there was no basis whatsoever for me to be a witness, since I never intended to introduce the actual sweatshirt. It's on video that this witness was interrogated about it, shown a sweatshirt. It has the initials CMR, which Your Honor now knows are the initials of Christine M. Roy, since we've seen her name and her initials on dozens of items. And therefore, I wanted to alert the court that as a result of that, I would intend to cross-examine this witness about his reaction to being shown a sweatshirt, his claim that he was shown a navy blue sweatshirt and that it was actually the one he saw was lighter than that he recalls. And therefore, it goes directly to the right of cross-examination. But I also want to point out, this is also putting the cart before the horse, because the claim, the court should look at these so-called bicycle videos. It's a misrepresentation that this bicyclist that one sees for approximately 2 or 3 seconds is in any way clear, visible. You cannot tell gender, height, anything. Somebody whizzes by in a camera that's I should note, one of which is stop action. So you see blurry clips. So the fact that this probably is not even relevant anyway, the court should understand this goes down a slippery slope. If it's allowed in, I believe I have the right to cross-examine, and I'm not going to introduce the contents of the box. And that's all I stipulated to. But in addition, if the court, this is the theory. This is the theory that the police made up. There's a bicyclist a half hour away from Wells Lane, riding on a street called Weed Street in New Canaan. It is not even a direct route to Wells Lane, and it's certainly not captured on any cameras near Wells Lane. So to suggest that there is a bucket with a sweatshirt in it, that somehow the court or that the jury should then infer from that from a anonymous bicyclist, that this might be the same thing, when there's no evidence of that, and there's no evidence of a bicyclist arriving at Wells Lane, gets back to the issue of what I would get to cross-examine about.
Well, First, as the court reads the stipulation uses the language introduce any evidence. The court is reading that broadly. The court is not reading that as the first party to introduce this evidence is the party that is introducing this evidence. The court reads that as puts into evidence at any time, even through cross-examination. So, again, the fact that the stipulation reads introduce any evidence does not, in this court's view, indicate that the only way that evidence can be introduced is through other than cross-examination. The state does not intend to introduce evidence of the box. The state is introducing evidence of a bucket and a hoodie in the back of the Tacoma. How we get to the box at Attorney Knight's office is a mystery. In other words, the court is indicating that the fact that the state is introducing evidence of a bucket and a hoodie does not carry us to cross-examination concerning a box in the possession of Attorney Knight. So as the court did not read the second paragraph. In exchange for the defendant's agreement not to introduce said evidence and proceed as though the contents of the box do not exist, the state agrees that the first argument in its motion to disqualify filed on October 11, 2022 is now moot, to wit, that Schoenhorn is likely to be a necessary witness at trial, and thus there is a compelling need for his testimony. In order for us to even understand the stipulation, we have to understand the distinction between what's in the box and what's in the Tacoma. The state is representing that there's no evidence that what was in the Tacoma was in the box.
And I'm representing to the court that it very well may have, and therefore I'm a right to. He was questioned, forget about the box. He was questioned about a sweatshirt. Because when this sweatshirt was turned in, there was no DNA testing, et cetera, et cetera.
What's in the box?
He was shown a sweatshirt. He didn't recognize the initials on them that said CMR. I'm just looking at notes right now. Because this is a videotaped interview with this witness. I mean, technically, to the extent that it is relevant, I could cross-examine about the contents of the video. There's no mention of the box, if I recall, in that interview. He's shown a sweatshirt. He denies that it's his sweatshirt. He then says, well, this looks darker than the sweatshirt that I recall seeing. The problem is that these so-called blurry videos show a very dark, almost black hooded sweatshirt. So I'm saying this is a slippery slope because it's also putting, as I said, the cart before the horse. The court has to even entertain whether these clips, these fast clips of a blurry bicyclist have anything to do with this case. Anything. There's no one who's going to identify this other than the state claiming that they think it's Fotis Doulos riding on a bicycle. But the only sweatshirt that Mr. Bohemia is shown has his own DNA in it, and he doesn't understand.
Just real quick, for everyone who is looking to follow the Brian Smith, Alaska case. Me, Dizzy, Steve, we're all scouring the interwebs to try to find if this case is going to be streamed or when it's going to be streamed. Nothing yet, so I'll keep you updated.
Understand why, and then later says, well, that could be mine.
Again, the court is reading the language shall not introduce broadly. And to put it in lay terms, no mention. That's how the court reads it. No mention at any time. So the court is going to allow the inquiry. Of course, these matters are preserved for appellate review. But again, court is not going to choke the spirit of the stipulation by using, the court is going to use this term, a noose, for the term shall not introduce. We're not going to choke the stipulation for it simply to mean.
Don't choke the stipulation. Don't choke it.
Other than in cross-examination. We can bring the jury back in.
I'm not sure I understand. Does that mean the court is precluding me from cross-examining this witness about his interrogation by the police regarding them showing him a dark sweatshirt?
If that is contents of the box, yes.
Well, to be honest, I don't believe that the video indicates where it came from. I'm assuming that's what they showed him. But again, just based on the chronology, but I want to be clear that the court is precluding me from cross-examining the witness about being shown a sweatshirt that they told him had his DNA. They denied it was his, later said it might be his, but it was a different color. It was darker than the one he recalls seeing in a bucket.
McGinnis.
Judge, the defendant precluded herself when she entered into this agreement. Mr. Schoenhorn precluded himself when he entered into this agreement in exchange for the state withdrawing a very colorable motion to disqualify. And it is the height of disingenuousness to stand here and say, they showed him a sweatshirt from the contents of the box that I've agreed not under any circumstances to mention and proceed as though it doesn't exist, and then to cross-examine him about those very contents.
The court is in agreement with the characterization that it is the stipulation that precludes the cross-examination, not the court. We can bring the jury in.
Wowza. Wowza.
You will bring the jury.
That was quite the argument, and Schoenhorn just got schooled, son. You just got schooled, son. Sit your ass down. You got nothing. You shouldn't have choked the spirit, bitch. Stop trying to choke the spirit, you silly bitch.
Yes.
You goofy son of a bitch. Oh, sorry. This motherfucker's trying to choke the spirit. Not on that judge's watch. You ain't gonna choke the spirit.
Found in your Toyota Tacoma, is that correct?
Yes.
And what was inside the bucket?
I believe it was like hoodie or jacket, blue color.
And what color was the bucket?
Red.
Can you describe the bucket to the jury in terms of its size?
It was smaller than 5-gallon bucket with like a, like little nose in it, like cleaning bucket that you can makes it easier to pour it to water to a smaller container.
Did you notice anything else in your vehicle at that time?
No.
What, if anything, did you do with the bucket?
I took the bucket and I went upstairs through the office. I didn't see Dulos there, so I left it in the laundry room. And then I believe I saw him on my way back when I gave him back the key to my Tacoma, and I told him that I left the bucket in the laundry room.
Did he say anything about the bucket?
I said, like, thank you. I don't recall it.
After you had this conversation with Mr. Dulos, what did you do?
I went to work, went to New Canaan.
Back to 61 Sturbridge?
Yes,
And what vehicle did you take?
the Jeep.
Where did you park your Tacoma at Fort Jefferson Crossing prior to leaving?
I believe I left it at the grass parking spot.
Now, this week began Monday, May 27th. I want to talk to you about other things that happened during that week, if I could. Did there come a point during that week where you helped the defendant move firewood?
Yes.
Do you recall exactly what day that was?
No.
But you can tell us it's sometime the week of May 27th?
I believe so, yes.
Where were you moving firewood from?
He has woodshed on right back corner of his property.
And did the topic of Jennifer Dulos' disappearance come up?
Yes.
Who brought it up?
Michelle.
And do you recall what the defendant said to you about Jennifer Dulos' disappearance?
Yes, so Michelle was upset that her and her daughter pictures were posted by the news online. And she said, I'm gonna kill that fucking bitch when she's gonna turn up. And I said, don't say that. And she said that she's gonna be suing the news. She's writing down who posted what pictures. And I believe at that time, Dulos walked out of dining room door, and then he was asking us, it like became awkward. He asking us, well, what are you guys doing? And Michelle said, nothing, we're just talking. Like, this is how the conversation ended.
And Mr. Gumeni, you've recently disclosed that conversation, is that correct?
Yes.
Why did you decide to recently tell my office about that conversation?
Those things I didn't think people say those kind of things and they don't mean it. And I was just wanted to minimize my involvement in all this.
When you say minimize your involvement, what do you mean?
Like I said, I didn't think that I was supposed to say those kind of things, I guess.
Did there come a point in time that same week where you had a conversation with Mr. Dulos about your vehicle?
Yes.
Do you recall what day this was?
I don't. Ever since I gave police my phone, I basically couldn't recover exactly the dates and times of what things happened when.
Can you give us an estimate as to when this conversation took place?
I believe it was either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tell the jury, firstly, where that conversation took place.
At Fort Jefferson.
Why did you go back to Fort Jefferson?
When I switched cars on Monday, I left my truck at Fort Jefferson, and I forgot to take my vape charger from that truck to transfer it to the Jeep.
Attorney McGinnis, at this point, the dates have not been clear.
Certainly. You indicated that you believe this conversation took place on Tuesday or Wednesday, so that would have been either May 28th or May 29th, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
So you went to get your vape charger, and maybe for those of us that don't know, vaping is electronic.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Vaping is electronic cigarettes?
Yes.
And you had a charger in your truck?
Yes.
Approximately what time did you arrive at Fort Jefferson Crossing?
I don't remember. It had to be after lunch.
When you got to Fort Jefferson Crossing, was anyone home?
I didn't see anybody, no.
And because you didn't see anyone, did you make a phone call?
Yes.
Who did you call?
Doulos.
And did he answer the phone?
Yes.
Could you tell the jury about that conversation?
So I call him and I ask him, where's, like, Fortis, you have my truck? And he says, yes, I'm coming back from the car wash. And I told him, you wash my truck? He says, yes. I said to him, thank you. Did you get it fixed too? I made a joke out of it. He says, no, just wash.
And did he indicate whether he was coming back to Fort Jefferson Crossing?
Yes, he said, I'm coming back from the car wash.
Did he arrive back at Fort Jefferson Crossing? Approximately how long between your phone call with Mr. Doulos did he arrive at Fort Jefferson Crossing?
I don't know. Not long, a few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
And on which date is this, please?
He's indicating either Tuesday the 28th or Wednesday the 29th.
Thank you.
You're not sure which date, correct? And when he arrived at Fort Jefferson Crossing, where did he go?
He parked the car on the grass parking area.
Were you able to view your Tacoma?
Yes.
How did the exterior appear to you?
It was just wash.
And when Mr. Doulos parked the Tacoma, what happened next?
He opened the door and he started playing with the side handle on the seat. And he told me, what's up with this? This doesn't work. The seats are not original. He told me, they look ghetto. You should get rid of them. You should change them. And I told him, yeah, I know it's, you know, the truck has other problems. I gotta get to it. It's leaking oil and things like that. And I told him, I'll get to it. But he told me, no, you should change the seats. You should fix the truck, sell it, or lower the price, and sell the truck. I'll give you a good deal on the Jeep.
I'm going to object to hearsay.
The court does not hear it as being offered by counsel for the truth of the matter asserted.
That's correct, Judge.
Overruled.
And I told him, I don't want your Jeep. I need something that's all-wheel drive for snow plowing.
You indicated lower the price on your vehicle. Were you trying to sell your vehicle?
I had that in mind for like a year to upgrade it to get a better truck, but I didn't post it anywhere.
You told us earlier that you actually would use the Tacoma for snow plowing in the winter. Is that correct?
Yes.
So having a
The
vehicle that had the
level of
ability to
how
hold
much
a
they don't care.
mount for a plow was important to you?
Yes.
And would the Jeep Cherokee have been?
It was two-wheel drive. It's just not. The Jeep Cherokee wasn't all-wheel drive. And
Did Mr. Doulos mention you go to a dealership also?
I believe that he mentioned that to me on another day.
When Mr. Doulos arrived back from the car wash, was he alone?
Yes.
Did you see the defendant at any point during this conversation with Mr. Doulos about the car wash?
I don't recall it now.
If you guys just all of a sudden hear a random audio, it's because I keep like searching the interwebs to see if anyone is streaming this trial in Alaska. I have yet to find anything. But, like if you hear the weird audio, it's because I can't mute stuff before I play it.
Now, after you had this conversation with Mr. Doulos, did you take your Tacoma key back?
I believe when he got out of the truck and he was telling me about the seats, he handed me the key.
Now, did he tell you why he was giving you the key?
No.
What did you do with the key?
Just put it in my pocket.
And did you go home that evening?
Yes.
What vehicle did you take home?
The Jeep.
When you were speaking with Mr. Doulos, did you have a chance to look inside the vehicle also?
When I was when I got in there to grab my jewel charger, I looked inside. Yes.
And how did the interior of the vehicle appear?
It looked clean.
How many years had you been leaving your Tacoma at 4 Jefferson Crossing?
When I was managing projects around Farmington area, I would not drive company vehicles as much. So mainly there was 2 projects that I did in New Canaan and I believe Darien. There was 175. I can't remember the address. So I want to say like a year, maybe year and a half.
And had Mr. Doulos ever washed your truck?
Prior to that day?
Yes.
No.
He sure hadn't.
Had he ever had the interior of your truck cleaned?
No.
Did you ask Mr. Doulos to do either of those things?
No.
Now, after you went home with the Jeep, did there come a point in time that same week where Mr. Doulos called you about your Tacoma?
Yes.
Do you recall what day that was?
No.
What did Mr. Doulos say to you in that conversation?
He said, he called me and he told me, the news are here, your truck is outside, I don't have a key.
If I may, Judge, it's being offered to explain why he went back to 4 Jefferson Crossing.
Doesn't sound like it's going there.
Well, the question was, what did he say? And the response, the beginning of the response was, the news is here. Can you sharpen the question, please? Trying to get it.
Sharpen the question, just don't
Did
choke
Mr.
it.
Doulos in that conversation ask you to do anything?
Yes.
What did he ask you to do during that conversation?
He asked me to come up to 4 Jefferson and take my truck home or park it in the garage.
And did he tell you why?
Because the news were there. And he didn't have a key.
Did you go to 4 Jefferson Crossing?
Yes.
Who did you go to 4 Jefferson Crossing with?
I asked my wife to give me one.
Now, by this point, you knew that Jennifer Doulos was missing, correct?
Yes.
Were you nervous at all about the fact that Mr. Doulos had washed your truck?
Not until I have this next conversation.
Oh boy. What's the next conversation?
At this point, were you suspicious that Mr. Doulos was involved in
Your Honor,
this?
I'm going to object. This is now leading and irrelevant. Certainly, you could ask him how he reacted, but he's asking leading questions.
Well, the testimony so far is that the court is characterizing the testimony. Mr. Doulos had kept the Tacoma out of the possession of the owner for a period of time. And the next question characterizes, were you suspicious having heard that Jennifer Doulos had disappeared?
The previous question, if I may
No,
recall,
you may
was
not.
that he went
We're
and
tired
picked
of you
up
maying.
the car and his wife
Shut your
brought
may
him
ass
there.
up.
So it wasn't about there was nothing about him keeping the vehicle at that time. To
Choke
take
his
the key,
spirit,
He
Judge.
was asked to take the car because
Choke
the
his
news
spirit.
was there. And then we get into, well, he was suspicious at this point, and that's what I'm objecting.
Well, the court understands counsel's concern, but the evidence already is that at some time before this conversation, Mr. Gumani wanted his truck at a certain time and it wasn't given to him. And so the question as the court hears it is, taking all of this into account, including the disappearance of Jennifer Doulos, did you become suspicious? Overruled.
I love how he does that. He pauses and he
Mr. Gumini, at this
overruled.
point, were you suspicious that Mr. Doulos was involved in the disappearance of Jennifer Doulos?
Not at this point, no.
Can you tell the jury why not?
I knew this guy for a very long time, and I trusted him that he was a good guy.
I want to direct your attention now to Thursday, May 30th, 2019. Did you have another conversation with Mr. Doulos about the seats?
I believe that was the Thursday that I had the conversation, yes.
What was the date again, please, counsel?
May 30th, 2019. How did that conversation begin?
I believe he started with telling me if I wanted to go down the road to the Chevy dealer and see if I can buy a small Chevy. And I told him that I don't like Chevys, I like Tacoma. And he told me, he asked me where can I buy seats? Junkyard? And I told him, yeah, I think I can get them in the junkyard. He told me, go to junkyard, get Tacoma seats or some other seats, pay cash, and I'll reimburse you for it. And then there was conversation about work. He asked me what I was gonna do tomorrow, and I told him I have to go to New Canaan. I believe I had to meet with the gutter guy, and I had some other things to do over there. And he told me yes, so go do that, and after go to junkyard and buy seats. And he told me if I call you or if we talk about it on the phone, let's not call it seats, let's call it hardware.
Code talk.
Was this
Oh, boy.
conversation that you were having with Mr. Doulos in which you referenced the term hardware in person or over the telephone?
I believe in person
Do you remember where it was?
at Fort Jefferson.
Do you remember about what time of day it was?
I don't.
When Mr. Doulos indicated that he wanted to refer to the seats as hardware, how did you react?
I didn't know what to say. I was shocked. I just I didn't say anything.
Did you agree to try to find seats?
I did when next day I did went to the junkyard.
After this conversation, were you growing nervous or suspicious about Mr. Doulos?
Yes.
So why did you agree to go to a junkyard?
I didn't want to lose my job. I had a wife, 2 kids. He was my main income, health insurance. And on top of all that, I have a non-compete signed with him. So if I lose my job, I'll have to move out of state, basically.
Wow.
There was a guy who used to work for him and quit his job, and then he was going after him really hard with the.
Wow.
When you say he was going after him really hard, you're referring to Mr. Doulos going after the former employee really hard? Is that correct?
Yes.
What were your plans for Friday, May 31st, 2019?
I was gonna go and meet with the gutter guy at 61 Sturbridge, and I have some things I was doing at 61 Sturbridge, and I believe in that week I had a flood in the basement. I might have brought some dehumidifiers and set them in the basement.
And had you been in communication with Mr. Doulos during the course of that week about the project at 61 Sturbridge?
Yes, I believe so.
And would that communication have been over the telephone?
Yep.
Approximately, well, did you travel to 61 Sturbridge on Friday, May 31st?
I believe so, yeah.
What time did you arrive?
I don't remember.
What would it have been? Morning, afternoon, evening?
It would have been morning.
And when you arrived, what was going on at the house?
I believe the gutter guy was there. I met with him, and I could have set up the humidifiers in the basement.
Approximately how long were you at 61 Sturbridge?
I believe I left shortly before noon.
Was the gutter guy still there?
Yes.
After you left 61 Sturbridge, where did you go?
I was driving back towards Farmington.
And are you still in the white Jeep Cherokee at this point?
Yes.
When you were on your way back towards Farmington, did you receive any phone calls?
I believe Doulos called me, yes.
What did Mr. Doulos say to you?
He asked me if I was gonna go and get the hardware, meaning the seats.
Was this the first time he had referred to the seats as hardware with you over the telephone?
I believe so, yes.
What were you thinking as he said this?
Objection.
Well, what were you thinking when he said, are you going to go get the hardware? Ground.
Speculation, irrelevant. What he was thinking. For all I know, he was thinking about going to the movies.
Well,
50-50 chance Pavel punches Schoenhorn in the neck when he leaves the stand.
Maybe I could ask.
the question can be asked in a different way. So as asked, sustained.
Mr. Gimeni, when Mr. Doulos referred to the hardware, were you thinking about going to the movies?
No.
What were you thinking?
Again, speculation and relevance.
Well, the witness would know what he was thinking. what can be asked, because what the witness was thinking may not have become what the witness acted on. So perhaps it can even be a sharper question.
Sharpen it up, counselor.
After Mr. Doulos asked you whether or not you'd taken care of the hardware, what did you say?
Said I'm gonna go and look and see if I can find any.
Were you feeling nervous at this point?
Yes, I was. I was trying to figure out what's going on.
How was Mr. Doulos acting with you on the telephone? Was he acting normally? Was he acting out of the ordinary?
No, I'm checked the word acting. There's a way to ask this question, but how does he know how he's acting over the phone?
Well, counsel is left to the manner in which he wishes to ask the question. So that's over.
How was he acting, sir?
He was speaking normally.
After this conversation, where did you go?
I went to junkyard.
Which junkyard?
Troconis in Southington.
Approximately what time did you arrive at the junkyard?
I'm guessing around maybe 1 o'clock.
And when you got to Chuck and Eddie's in Southington, what did you do?
I was just walking around and thinking about what's going on. Why does he want me to change the seats? I was trying to analyze him that Friday when I met with him on the 24, and I was trying to thinking like, how do I get out of it? Not to get fired basically, and not to change the seat.
Did you end up purchasing seats at the junkyard?
No.
How many vehicles does Chuck and Eddie's have?
I don't know. I guess probably 400.
Did you walk around the junkyard?
Yes.
Did you decide not to purchase any seats?
Yes.
Incidentally, you testified earlier that you referred to Mr. Urso by one of Mr. Doulos' attorneys. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you ever speak with Mr. Doulos or his attorney at the same time during that week of May 27th?
I did.
And did the subject of your green card status come up during that conversation?
Ho, 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 ho. What?
What? Over the phone? No.
Did it come up at any point?
Yes.
When did it come up?
I don't remember the date. He sent me.
Let's just be clear. When you say he, who's that?
Doulos. Send me. I believe his lawyer phone number and his best friend Mark Marcial. And he told me I send you some phone numbers in case if you get approached by police or something, don't talk to them. Call the lawyer, have them talk to the lawyer. And I told him I can just talk to them and I can just tell them what I was like. Why do I need a lawyer for? And he told me that no, you don't understand. You're on your green card here. You don't want to talk to police. They're gonna put you in the corner. They're gonna ask you questions. They're gonna lie to you. They're gonna threaten you that they're gonna arrest you and deport you out of here. You don't want to do that. just haven't talked to the lawyer.
How did you feel as he was saying these things?
Your Honor, can we get a time frame, first of all, and second of all, it's I thought he said it was an email. Now it's sounding like it's a telephone conversation, which I'm not sure I understand. And then third, how does he feel about that is irrelevant.
So,
Well,
Judge,
first, if the whole thing is irrelevant, we need not address the first two. Overruled.
Yes. I love what
how
he
did you
does
feel
that.
after this conversation about your green card status?
Well, I don't think he said anything. The question had it.
Well, this is now the question. If the other question was different, apparently it has been abandoned. So you can ask the question again, Attorney.
How did you feel after this conversation about your green card status?
Well, I'm going to again, I'm going to object. I don't believe his answer said anything about his green card status.
Well, the response was, you don't want to talk to the police. They'll put you in a corner. They'll lie. And something about the green card.
Also that he would be deported.
To overrule.
You may answer the question.
I just told him, I said, I don't understand why you don't want me to talk to the police. I can just tell them where I was and what's going on.
How long did you walk around Chuck and Eddie's for?
I want to say like an hour, maybe two.
And did you eventually leave Chuck and Eddie's?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to second junkyard. It was more like a used parts junkyard. And I asked the guy there at the register if I gave him my year and model of my Tacoma, and I asked him if he has the seats for that kind of truck. And he told me yes. They were like $150, and you can have them in 2 days.
If you were growing increasingly suspicious about Mr. Doulos, why did you go to the second junkyard?
Because I was like thinking about what's going on and how to get out of it, and I wanted to go back to the office and tell them that I can't find him and I can't change it.
Did you make a deal with the person at the second junkyard for the seats?
No.
After not making the deal, what did you do?
I stopped by one more body shop in, I believe it was Plan B or Bristol.
And what did you do there?
I asked the guy if he has some seats for my truck, and then if he can fix some mechanical issues.
And did he have seats?
He showed me 2 vehicles and told me you can have those. No.
After this third junkyard, what did you do?
I went back to the office.
Approximately what time of day was this?
I want to say 3:30, 4 o'clock, maybe 2:30. I can't really remember.
And on what day is this, Attorney?
Friday, May 31st, correct?
Yes.
When you arrived at Fort Jefferson between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, where did you go?
I went upstairs to the office.
When you got into the office, was anyone present?
Doulos was, yes.
Did you speak with Mr. Doulos at that time?
Yes.
What did you say to Mr. Doulos?
I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I just went off on him. I told him, what's up with my truck? Why did you clean it? And he smiled at me and says, because you were never going to do it. And I told him, seriously, why did you clean my truck? And he says, don't worry about it. There's nothing going on. I went to Jennifer's house for Mother's Day. I gave her a hug. I hold the cat. And then I came back, and then I was having the same clothes, and I was driving your truck. There might be hair in it or something. I just want to clean everything. The police might come in. They find something. They're gonna destroy my name, destroy the company name. No one's gonna ever want to build it with me. And I said, why you want me to change the seats? What's up with the seats? And he said, like, can we not talk about it? Can you just do it? And then he keep on pressing me on it. And then
let me stop you there. When you say he keeps on pressing you and pressing you, can you describe his demeanor for the jury?
Yeah, he was growing angry and he keep on saying, like, you gotta do it. Can you do it?
Did he appear scared?
At a little bit later point.
After he pressed you, did you make any suggestions to him?
Yeah, he become scared and angry when I told him that I went to a couple junkyards. I can't change him because I don't physically have him. I couldn't buy him. And what do you want me to do? And then he kept pressing, and he was growing angry. And I finally said, the only seats I can think of would be the Cayenne seats. And he says, yeah, do that.
And just to refresh the members' memory, the Cayenne is the Porsche Cayenne at 585 Deer Cliff Road?
Yes.
And after Mr. Doulos said, yeah, do that, what happened next in the conversation?
I went to 585.
Well, let me ask you this before we get there. Did Mr. Doulos offer to help you?
Not at this point.
Okay. So what happened next?
I went to 585 and I opened the door. There was like two huge exterior house doors right next to the Cayenne. I had to move those. I opened the door. I got into the Cayenne and the battery was dead and I couldn't, the seats were electric. I couldn't move them back and forth to get to the bolts. So I was like, screw that. I went back to Fort Jefferson and I told him, listen, the seats are electric. The battery is dead. I can't move him. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. He says, no, you got to do it. Get the battery booster, get the wrench, and get him, take him out, change him, and get rid of him so nobody will ever find him. And then I think this is when he offered me, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to help you.
And after he said, get rid of them so no one will ever find them, and offered to help you, did you accept his help?
No.
Mr. Gamini, did you ever directly ask Mr. Doulos whether or not he had killed his wife?
No.
Why not?
It wasn't fitting in my head that he'd have been capable of doing such thing. And I just didn't want to lose my job.
Why did you think you would lose your job?
Because he would get angry with me.
After this conversation with Mr. Doulos, what did you do next?
I went to 585. I connected the battery jumper. I moved the seats back, and then I couldn't. I didn't have the kind of range, so I went down to Vans Auto or AutoZone store down the road in Avon, I believe. And I got the wrench, and I came back, and I unbolted the seats, put them in the Jeep, pushed the big doors back into the garage, closed the door, and went back to Fort Jefferson.
And when you say you took the seats and put them in the Jeep, we're referring to the Jeep Cherokee, correct?
Yes.
What area of the Jeep Cherokee did you put the seats?
I believe I fold down one of the folding seats on the back, and I used the trunk area.
How long did it take you to remove the seats?
Like with that time that I went to AutoZone and all that?
No, the actual time to physically remove them, once you had the wrench.
I want to guess like half hour maybe.
And after you put the seats in the Jeep Cherokee, where did you go next?
Fort Jefferson.
Is this a good time to break, Judge?
Yeah. We'll take our afternoon recess, ladies and gentlemen. Till 4 o'clock, please do not discuss this.
Can you fix the focus, dude? You finally put the camera on her and there's no focus. What are you doing? Fire this camera person. There should have been so many more reaction shots of her during that testimony, and there was nothing. And they finally put the camera on him and it's not focused. So I don't know. I find this guy extremely credible, and I think he has some damning evidence against Michelle. Although the latest stuff has been FOTUS, but first of all, right? So he says he makes a joke. But this is before Jennifer goes missing. She doesn't make a joke. FOTUS wants to put their dog down, but Jennifer doesn't let the kids go see the dog one final time. And this witness hears Michelle say, "You should bury Jennifer next to the dog." That's a problem. She also jokes later on. Also, at some point after Jennifer goes missing, Pavel was like talking to Michelle. Michelle was pissed that there was footage of her on the news. And Michelle goes, I'll fucking kill her or something. But that wasn't as incriminating, I think, as the fact that the witness says that FOTUS comes over and goes, "Hey, what are you guys talking about?" Like he was nervous that Michelle and Pavel were talking about stuff, i.e., he's worried Michelle was going to say stuff that she shouldn't because she was involved. He also said that she was cleaning at the day that Jennifer went missing, and in the 2 years that he knew her, he never saw her cleaning one time. This is the only time Pavel ever saw Michelle cleaning, was the day Jennifer goes missing. And there's one other thing, and now I'm forgetting it. Oh, also she had the keys at a certain point. Michelle Troconis had the keys to, because Pavel wanted his car back, the Tacoma, and at a certain point, Michelle had the keys to the car. So you're telling me Michelle had the keys to the car and had no idea what was going on? The car that they wanted so badly to get rid of the evidence, to get that FOTUS had cleaned, that FOTUS wanted him so badly to change the seats for. Michelle had the keys for it and had no idea. I don't know, man. I think this witness. I'm sure there's more evidence, but I think this witness is. Oh, by the way, her DNA was on the garbage bags that she was. I mean, it's been brought up in the chat, and it wasn't my. I think Mike might have brought it up first on Kick, but this guy was being set up to be the fall guy. This was Jeff Lacoste, and I think other people said this, but this was like Jeff Lacoste. They were setting this guy up. Oh, they also asked him to keep the car. He wanted to go away Memorial Day weekend in his car because he had a dirt bike and he wanted it and he wanted to take his car to Tacoma. And Fotis is like, why can't I have the car for the weekend? I mean, and we didn't have an opening argument, but in a closing argument, they're going to be talking about this testimony a lot, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, too. That's a good point, too, Katrina. Fotis even shaved his head like this guy, like Pavel. He got a haircut, remember when they talked about it? And he looked more like Pavel, which is who they were trying to frame, was on the bike. They were trying to make it like he was on the bike. And then it was his car that had the evidence in it. They were making this guy the patsy. They would blame it all on him. Any hoozle, as far as the Alaska case goes, first of all, apparently Court TV is covering it. Thank you, Dizzy and Tracy, for pointing that out. I keep checking. I hope Court TV has it on their YouTube or a distinct live feed, which sometimes they do. But it looks like they are going to be covering it. But it doesn't look like either they didn't finish picking the jury or they're not telling us, because I can't find anything where. Oh, what? What? Bro, are you fucking kidding me right now? Wait, is this a different case? This is a different case. Oh, that's good, Court TV. Have a thing here that there's not even a link. Are you kidding me? All right, so it looks like they have a separate live feed, which is good, but it has not started yet. I will be switching over to this, folks. I will be switching over to this. But we don't have a time. But that's amazing news that Court TV is covering it, so I don't have to worry about potentially getting a strike. Oh, Sarah. Sarah won the stickers. Congratulations, Sarah. Email me over your address, Sarah, and I will email it over to my mom, and you will get the first stickers from Mambo, Sarah. Not Mambo number 5, Mambo. Yeah, guys, this is going to be a different schedule. This is going to be a different schedule. This case is going to start likely, Dizzy pulled up the docket before. It's like 8:30, if that's when they start. 8:30 my time is, what is that? 12:30, right? So I'm going to be staying up late. But also remember, this Thursday at 7 p.m. is Creators Who Crush. With Tim and Lance from Crawl Space Pod, who did one of the first podcasts, from what I understand, on Maura Murray. Also, the person that I was supposed to have on for an interview tomorrow has not responded to me. And now I'm worried that they're ghosting me, and I jinxed it, and I never should have said anything. Hopefully they're just very busy at work, and I didn't jinx it. But with my headspace, I always think that I jinxed it and did something stupid. Madeline, did you ever get the JBN snail sticker from the store? I don't think I got a claim for it, so it should. I hope they mailed that out. I think they did. Folks, we're on break now until what time? 4 o'clock? Okay, good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Awesome, Carrie. Glad to hear it. Oh, excellent. I don't know why it took you that so long. I feel like I sent that to you so long ago, but I guess I'm glad you got it. A few more minutes. We'll be back from break. I am continuing to keep an eye on this Alaska case. This Alaska case is a doozy. And I just got a quick glimpse, but there may be a court officer that the ladies might like. I'm not positive because I couldn't get a view, but based on prior trials and prior ladies enjoying some of the court officers, I feel like there might be one that the ladies enjoy. Yeah, Dizzy, did you see in that clip, Dizzy? In that clip you sent me this morning, there's two of them, but there's one of them they show it twice, so just a heads up. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm just basing it on prior cases. I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. Dizzy. All right, I think Dizzy has confirmed, folks. So I feel better that Dizzy confirmed it. I would admit it, folks. I just didn't get a great view of him. Just from I could show you guys right now, actually. You guys tell me right now. You guys can tell me. Let me just make sure this is not live right now. It is not. And it looks like they have their own separate feed, which is good. You guys tell me from this quick clip what you think. You guys can tell me right real time. What's that freaking thing? Here we go. Nope, that's not the one. Nope. Here you go. Here you go, guys. Is this it?
Room for the start of his trial today, 15.
To be graphic and disturbing, and at least one
Oh, great.
recording the
Room for the start of his trial today, 15 of the 16 people needed for the jury were chosen, 12 jurors plus 3 alternates. Rebecca
For here are the jurors who could sit
Not this guy.
on a criminal case.
Wait for the court
A
officer.
criminal case that involves allegations of murder, sexual assault, that may involve some graphic images, and it can last for the entire month of February.
The underlying question is, do you have something in your personal makeup or history that makes you uniquely situated that you shouldn't be you couldn't be a fair juror?
As the defense and
There he is. You guys tell me. I don't know.
prosecution peppered the prospective jurors in this case, the man at the center of this trial, Brian Smith, watched on. Smith is charged
MJ
with
says
murders
no.
of 30-year-old Kathleen
Avey
Jo
says
Henry
no.
and 53-year-old Veronica Abuja.
Rachel says no. All right, I was off,
Henry
guys.
died during
Sorry.
the first week of September
Sorry.
2019, strangled and killed in a hotel
Oh,
room.
fine. I
After
blew it. I'm
2000
sorry.
suppression trial.
Mods,
Videos.
block everyone
And
that's giving
is
me a hard
expected to be
time. Block
graphic and
everyone that says
disturbing.
no.
There'll be explicit
Mods,
photos
block
and
them,
videos,
please.
and a case expected to last almost all month.
The court is now open and back in session.
Mods, block everyone that's giving me a hard time right now, please. AKA everyone in the chat, please. Block everyone.
Bring the jury in, please.
Oh, here we go. Thank you, Donna. Mods, make Donna a mod. Donna's a mod now. Oh, Donnie's here. Donnie, can
Yes,
you...
Judge.
Yes.
May I inquire? Mr. Gumini, where we left off, you had put the Cayenne seats inside of the white Jeep Cherokee. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
And after you did that, where did you go?
You're good,
I
Rebecca.
drove back to Fort Jefferson Crossing.
Approximately how long did it take you to get to Fort Jefferson Crossing?
1 minute.
Can you describe the road Fort Jefferson Crossing for the jury?
It's I want to say dead end road, with like a cul-de-sac on the end. So it kind of goes in. There's houses, and then there's like a turnaround, and then goes back out.
So would it be fair to say that there's only one entrance and exit to Fort Jefferson Crossing?
Yes.
When you turn onto Fort Jefferson Crossing, is Fort Jefferson Crossing on the right or the left if you're driving?
The Fort Jefferson Crossing.
Driving from where?
Well,
it's one
it's
entrance.
a one entrance to Fort Jefferson Crossing, so if you're driving, the court understands if you're driving towards Fort Jefferson Crossing, is it on the right or the left?
That's correct, sir. Is it, if you're driving to Fort Jefferson Crossing, would it be on the left or the right?
Again, I'm
Counsel,
sorry,
you can't come into Fort Jefferson Crossing jumping over the cul-de-sac. There's one entrance.
But driving, you turn left or right, depending on whether you're going north or south. So that's why I don't understand.
The court understands the testimony that you can't enter Fort Jefferson Crossing by any other way than the one way that leads in.
If I may just explain, Your Honor, it's my understanding from the maps that, and I've been there, Jefferson Crossing intersects with Eli Road. And we're talking about entering Jefferson Crossing. You can go from the left, turn left, or if you're coming from the other direction, you turn right. So I'm just finding the question confusing.
Well, the court understands the question to be, once you're on Jefferson Crossing, is 4 on your left or on your right?
That's correct, Judge. Once you're on Jefferson Crossing, is 4 on your left or your right?
On the right.
And are there any houses before Fort Jefferson Crossing? Or
Yes.
Is it, what address is that?
I believe it's 2 Jefferson Crossing.
And when you were driving towards Fort Jefferson Crossing and it's on your right, did you see anything?
I saw a couple cars with some people there.
Did you know who they were?
Not at the first look, no.
Did you think that they were police officers?
Could have been.
How fast were you driving at this point?
I was going pretty slow.
Did you stop at Fort Jefferson Crossing?
No.
Why not?
I saw cars there, and I just didn't want to bother anybody, and I just kept driving.
Mr. Grimini, was the fact that you had these seats in the back of your Jeep also a factor in not stopping?
No.
Where did you go after you passed Fort Jefferson Crossing?
I went to the end of the road, I turned around, and I was slowly driving back.
And as you were slowly driving back, as I understand it, Fort Jefferson Crossing would now be on your left hand side. Is that correct?
Yes.
Where were you going at that point?
I was driving back slowly, and the police came to the road, and they signed me to stop.
And did you stop the vehicle?
Yes.
How many police officers approached you?
I don't remember. I want to say 3 or 4.
Do you remember a trooper named Detective Michael Butin approaching you?
Yes.
Did Mr. Butin ask you where you were, excuse me, did Sergeant Butin ask you where you were coming from?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
I believe I told him I was coming from New Canaan.
Why did you tell Sergeant Butin that you were coming from New Canaan?
I don't remember. I could have misunderstood. I could have not. I don't remember.
Had you been in New Canaan earlier in the day?
Yes.
Were you asked to step out of the vehicle at any point?
Yes.
And what happened when you were asked to step out of the vehicle?
He asked me if there is, if I have any drugs or if there's any weapons in the car.
And what did you say?
I said no.
Did you give permission to search the vehicle at that time?
He asked me if they can look or search the car, and I say yes.
Were you nervous at this time?
I don't know. I mean, my heart is going. I just had a heated conversation with Doulos, and I was just removing the seats and fighting with the big doors in the 585.
Well, let me ask you this: were you concerned about the fact that the police were at Mr. Doulos' home?
I didn't have time to think. It was just everything was happening fast.
And did you tell Sergeant Butin at that time that you were, well, strike that. Did Sergeant Butin ask you about the seats in the back of the Jeep?
Yes.
And what did you tell him you were doing with the seats?
I told him that I removed them from the crash can at 585, and I was planning on putting them in my truck.
Did you tell him that you were doing that at Doulos' instructions?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the leading nature.
Well, it is leading, but you can
I'll
rephrase it.
withdraw. I'll actually withdraw that, Your Honor.
Did you tell him that you were doing that at Doulos' instructions at that time?
This is unbelievable. This fucking guy just objects, and the judge kind of agrees with him, and then he goes, I'll withdraw. He is just objecting to hear his dumb voice out of the dumb hole in his head. Just shut up. I feel like they need to set this up like it's an NFL game, and he's got a limited number of challenges or objections. This man has unlimited objections, and it needs to change.
No.
Why not?
He didn't ask.
And why didn't you offer it?
I didn't want to get into that. I didn't know what to do.
Was a request made of you around this time?
Can you?
Sure, I'll try to sharpen the question. Were you asked to call Mr. Doulos?
Yes.
Do you remember who asked you to call Mr. Doulos?
I don't recall who did it. I believe could have been Detective Butin. or it could have been, I can't remember the other detective name, Al, older.
Did you meet a Sergeant Al Bisson?
Yes.
So it could have been Detective Butin or Sergeant Bisson?
Yes.
And did you call Mr. Doulos?
Yes.
Did he answer the phone?
Yes.
What did you say to Mr. Doulos?
I told him there's the police is here and they wanted to talk to him.
And did he indicate where he was?
I don't recall if he told me that or he told the detectives there, but I found out that he was at the pond where he water skis and he's coming back.
When you'd spoken to Mr. Doulos earlier in the day about the seats, did he indicate to you at that time that he'd be going to the ponds later in the afternoon?
No.
What time of night is this, or what time of day is this?
I don't remember. It had to be around 5 o'clock maybe.
And did one of the troopers actually take your phone and walk away with it?
Yes.
How long did they have the phone for?
A few minutes.
And when you gave them, did you give them the phone at that time?
Yeah, when I started talking to Doulos, he asked me, like, let me talk to him. And then I just handed him the phone.
And were you asked to go to the pond at that point?
Yes.
Do you remember who asked you to go to the pond?
I don't.
What is the pond?
It's a self-storage area with like a lake on the back where Doulos and his friends go water skiing.
Had you ever been water skiing with Mr. Doulos?
No.
Had you ever been water skiing with the defendant?
No.
What was your purpose in going to the pond at approximately 5 o'clock p.m. on May 31st, 2019?
I was asked to go and pick up Michelle with her daughter and her mom, I believe.
And where did you go to the pond and pick them up?
Yes.
Was that in the Cherokee?
I believe so, yes.
And where did you bring them initially?
Where?
Yes.
Back to Fort Jefferson.
And was there additional police presence at Fort Jefferson at this time? Or the same amount of police presence?
I don't remember.
Did you eventually bring anyone to a hotel?
Yes.
Who did you bring to a hotel?
Michelle mom and Michelle daughter.
Approximately how much time elapsed between when you were first stopped by Detective Butin and when you left Fort Jefferson Crossing to bring the defendant's mother and daughter to the hotel?
I don't remember. Maybe an hour.
I want to direct your attention now back to the Cayenne seats, which were in the Jeep Cherokee. After you dropped the defendant's mother and daughter at the hotel, where did you go?
I went home.
And when you went home, did you change the seats?
Yes.
Explain to the jury where the Tacoma was when you arrived home in Simsbury.
I don't remember if it was in the garage or he was standing outside. It was out of my house.
And when you changed the seats, can you just describe that process for the jury, how you went about doing that?
So I unbolt the Ford seats that were installed in Tacoma. I took him out and I put the Cayenne seats in, and the legs of the seats, they won't match the Tacoma holes in the floor. So I had to cut out the bottom rails of the Ford seats to transfer them to the Cayenne seats. And I removed the seat cover from I believe the driver's seat and the sponge, so I could get in there with the angle grinder, and I didn't want the seat to catch on fire because it creates a lot of heat and sparks. And I took some additional measurements, and I just left that. I just stopped doing it.
Well, when you say that you took the seat cover off what you believe to be the driver's side seat,
Yep.
are you referring to the Ford seats that were in your Tacoma, or are you referring to the Cayenne seats?
The Ford seat that was in the Tacoma.
And were you able to get both Ford seats out of your Tacoma?
Yes.
At that point, what did you do with the Cayenne seats?
I put them in a Tacoma, and I put the Tacoma seats next to my truck in the garage.
Were you able to fully install the Cayenne seats into the Tacoma?
No.
Why not?
Because the holes pattern with the Tacoma, they weren't matching. Like, I couldn't bolt them.
So what did you do with the Cayenne seats?
I just put them in the truck and I left them there.
Did you put them on top of anything?
No, I just put them in the cab, like where they belong. Just didn't bolt them down.
The Ford Focus seats that you removed from your Toyota Tacoma, you indicated that you put them next to the Tacoma?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury why you did that?
I wanted to keep him just in case if there's anything going on with the truck. If the police is asking about it, I just wanted to keep him next to it.
Were you concerned at this point that those seats may have been used in a crime?
I have my doubts, but I still couldn't fit in my head that Doulos would go and do something to Jennifer.
And do you recall whether or not you were in touch with Attorney Urso that night also?
I don't remember that. I know at some point somehow I got connected with Attorney Urso, but.
Well, I want to fast forward to June 2nd, 2019. Did state police personnel show up at your home?
That was Sunday?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do you recall who showed up?
Detective Newton, and I don't remember the other detective name.
Approximately what time did Detective Newton and the other detective arrive?
I don't remember.
By June 2nd, 2019, had you learned that Mr. Doulos had been arrested?
Yes.
How did you learn that?
I believe I saw it on the news.
And did you also learn that the defendant had been arrested?
I believe so, yeah.
Now, did Detective Newton and the other detectives speak with you about your whereabouts on May 24th, 2019?
Yes.
And did Detective Newton indicate that he would be seizing your phone?
Yes.
And did he ask for consent to search the phone?
Yes.
And were you willing to provide consent to search the phone?
Yes.
And I believe Is it true that Attorney Urso spoke with Detective Butin and the other detective at that time on the telephone as well?
Yes.
Oh shit, Angel Baby coming in with a $20 super chat.
I said money!
Love this channel so much.
Wow.
Redheart.
Thank you so much, Angel Baby. I really appreciate that. That is super nice. Thank you so much.
And did you end up agreeing to have them take your phone?
Yeah. So first I agree, and I told them, let me just call my lawyer and just make sure this is okay. And I believe Urso told me,
My boy, my beautiful boy, Viking son, gifting out a sub to P. Lola's mom. Thank you so much, Steve. You rock. Again, Steve is covering this case at 9 tonight. The Alaska case at 9 tonight. Make sure you are subscribed to him. I promise you, if you're new to my channel, you'll love Steve's channel. Thank you so much, Steve.
you know, if they want to seize, they can seize, but they need a warrant to search it. I told them, listen, I have nothing to hide. I rather give him sign the paper or whatever it was, so they can download it and give it back to me quickly. And he agreed with it.
And so did Detective Butin take the phone?
Yes.
And you now know that that phone has been downloaded, correct?
Yes.
And is it true, sir, it's been brought to your attention that there were deleted items on your phone?
Police told me that, yes.
Deleted items relating to search.
Object to leading nature.
Deleted items from his phone.
Well, first question was, are you now aware that there were deleted items on your phone? The answer was yes. Now the question is, those deleted items were or referred to, well, the intermediate question is, do you know what the deleted items were?
He indicated the police told him.
Counsel, the intermediate question is, do you know what the deleted items were? That's a yes or no.
Do you know what those deleted items were?
No.
Did the police tell you that there had been searches related to the disappearance of Jennifer Doulos on your phone?
At some point, yes.
Did you do any searches on the disappearance of Jennifer Doulos?
I'm sure I did, yes.
Do you know how those items were deleted from your phone?
Well, objection. He didn't know what was deleted, and now he's being asked, does he know how? So I object.
Witness testified he didn't know which items were deleted. So this is not the best witness to determine which items were deleted. So sustained.
Mr. Gumini, you had what type of phone in 2019?
I believe that was iPhone 6.
And did you ever clear your search history on your phone?
All the time.
Why?
I just am in the habit of doing that. I must have been someone told me a long time ago that there might be slowing down my phone or something.
Yeah, it was Wendy Adelson who told him to do that.
When Detective Butin was at your home, did you tell him about the Ford Focus seats that were in your garage, detached from the Tacoma?
I don't believe we have the conversation then, no.
Why didn't you tell Detective Butin about the seats at that time?
I didn't want to talk to them without the presence of my lawyer about that subject
Why not?
because I was on my green card and I was worried that I might be charged with something.
And did you tell them that you would speak to them again with your attorney present?
I told them, ask him to set up a meeting with me and my attorney, and I can give him some more information.
Where was the Tacoma parked when Detective Newton was at your residence?
It was in garage.
Did Detective Newton and the other detective ever go into your garage at that time?
No, they asked me about the license plate and where the truck is, and I told them it's in my garage, and I don't remember the license plate.
Now, did they eventually leave your house?
Yes,
And did they return the same day?
I believe so, yeah.
Approximately how long after they left your house did they return?
Don't remember.
Why did they return?
Well, I'm going to object to that, Your Honor. How would we know why they
Foundation was sustained.
Did the detectives tell you why they were returning?
I don't remember.
Did the detectives indicate to you whether or not they would be taking the white Jeep Cherokee?
Again, I'm going to object to the hearsay nature and the leading question.
Well, the focus of the question right now is, did the detectives tell you the reason they returned? And so the objection is hearsay. The court is not certain it is being offered for the truth of the matter asserted. If the objection is hearsay, it's overruled.
Did the detectives tell you that they were going to be taking the white Jeep Cherokee?
Yes.
Incidentally, why were you still in possession of the white Jeep Cherokee?
I don't know. I just have it. I just took it home that Friday, and it was just at my house.
Do you recall a tow truck coming to your house and taking the Cherokee?
I don't recall seeing the tow truck, but yeah, they took the Jeep, so it must show up at some point.
And did there come a point in time later on that same week where the police came to your house again?
Yes.
And I'm referring specifically for the members' benefit to the week of Monday, June 3rd, 2019. Do you recall exactly what day that week they returned?
No.
Do you remember who came to your house?
I don't.
Does Sergeant Albisson sound familiar?
Yes.
And were you home when they arrived?
Yes.
What time of day was this?
I don't remember.
Did Sergeant Bisson make a request of you?
Yes, he was asking me if there's access to the power line trails from the main road. And I told him that I know of at least two places where you can access.
And so did he ask for your help in locating those places?
Yes.
And did you agree to go with him?
Yeah, he asked me if I can take my vehicle and go with him.
And what vehicle did you take?
Eventually, I took the truck.
When you say eventually, you tried to use your wife's vehicle first?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you do that?
Because the truck seats were attached to it, and just figured that my wife's vehicle would be better to drive.
Now, at this point, had you told Sergeant Bisson about the seats in your garage yet?
No.
Why not?
He didn't ask.
What happened after you took your truck?
We went up to the top of the Ava Mountain, and I showed him one place where it was like up on the top of the Ava Mountain. You have to turn left, and then you can access the trails. And we missed that, and I pulled forward down with the truck on there's like a parking spot on the right, and I was trying to turn around, and I stopped, and then he pulled right next to me, and he handed me a search warrant for my truck.
And at that point, did he indicate to you that the state police would be taking your Tacoma?
Yes.
After they told you that they would be taking the Tacoma, what did you do?
I told them that that's okay. The only thing is the seats that are in the truck are not the seats that were in the truck at the May 24. And I told him I asked him if he could go back with me to my house to take the seats.
Did you also go through the trails with Sergeant Bisson at any point that day?
Yeah, I believe on our way back, we turned into that place where I was trying to show him. And I think I took them to West Hartford Reservoir.
And was that before or after they told you about the search warrant?
I don't remember. Could have been after.
Well, were you in their vehicle or yours?
In their vehicle. So it had to be after, yeah.
And after you told Sergeant Bisson that the seats that were in the Tacoma hadn't been in the Tacoma previously, what happened next?
We drove down to my house, and I opened the garage door and I gave him the seats.
Why did you decide to give Sergeant Bisson the seats at that moment?
Because I didn't want to be hiding anything.
Where did you give Sergeant Bisson the seats?
Where?
Yeah.
At my driver's.
Had you put the cover back on the driver's seat at this point, or did you give it to him with the cover still?
No, I kind of kept them separately and all together in one place. They weren't back on, no.
Now I want to direct your attention now to July 12, 2019, so approximately a month or so later. Did you submit to an interview with the state police?
Yes.
Approximately how long did that interview last?
About 8 hours.
Who was present for that interview?
I know there was me, Lindy Urso, Sergeant Butin, and some other detective. I don't recall his name.
Detective Chris Allegro?
Possible.
Where did this interview take place?
Stanford. I don't remember the address.
At a police department?
Yes.
And
I tell you right now, if I had to testify in a trial where my boss tried to frame me for a murder, and I was there all fucking day, I would look more irritated than this guy does.
during the course of that interview, did you provide a DNA sample to the state police?
Yes, I did.
Did they have a search warrant for your DNA, or did you consent?
I consent.
And how did they take the DNA sample?
They just do a swab on the inside of the chick.
And where did this swabbing take place?
Where?
Yes, sir.
Like inside of...
No, I'm sorry. Was it at the police department as part of this interview?
Yes.
Judge, I have some exhibits. I don't know if this is a natural breaking point before
Yeah,
we
it's a natural breaking point.
get too far into those.
Probably. it's a natural break. If you wanted to introduce exhibits, it's probably a good idea to introduce them fresh tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, we will conclude today. We plan to start tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Please do not discuss the case. Please do not follow the case on any media. Have a good evening.
All right, so here's the dizzle, guys. Oh, these jabronis are still talking. Of course, this guy's still talking. And I'm glad it's muted because I don't want to fucking hear him.
You know, we have to argue motions, obviously, at some point, but, you know, I have people coming from all over the country. So.
Well, would not that be just a discussion between you and the state?
I can't really, well, let's put it this way. I've been unsuccessful in getting a more definitive answer. I'd rather have something on the record so when the issue arises regarding delay, at least I have a approximate. I'm not going to hold them to it, but give me at least a ballpark.
Your Honor, what I can indicate is it's very difficult to anticipate, especially to anticipate based on cross-examination. I have attempted to ensure that the jury is not wasting their time, and we have individuals ready to testify up until 4:45. My witnesses I have scheduled for tomorrow, I'm actually going to push back till Thursday because I anticipate counsel will be crossing Mr. Fleming, as well as the fact that we're not finished. So we're actually pushing back a day right now. In anticipation, I really can't give a estimate right now. I think I probably have a better idea after counsel and I can talk tonight and can discuss with Attorney Shohorn maybe tomorrow morning and see what we can give him a ballpark. But realistically, putting on the spot, I can't give you a day. Yeah, if we can, Your Honor.
Well, first, counsel indicated to the court, the court indicated to the jury that March 1st was an overestimate. The court does not want to not keep the jury informed as to whether we're going to run up against that overestimate. That would not be fair. So if counsel would discuss the matter, the court can then determine how it will approach the jury if it looks like we're going to hit March 1st.
Yes, Judge, we'll discuss that. And actually, just while we're on this topic, I wasn't going to bring this up with the court now, but Attorney Schoenhorn raised the issue of witnesses coming from out of state. Can Mr. Dominion be excused for this?
Yes, you may be excused.
Yeah, let him go home. Jeez Louise.
I did just want to alert the court that Attorney Schoenhorn has given us 2 curriculum vitae for expert witnesses within the last week. I believe we got one on Friday, and we received another one today. We have no reports. We have no written explanation as to what they're going to testify to or what they relied on. We seem to be
All
at
right,
a
guys.
little bit of an impasse.
We got a standby. Thanks, Steve, who sent me a link for a local Alaska case that has a standby. It looks like it might be going live soon with the Alaska case. So I'm going to end this stream. I don't want to hear jabroni anymore anyway. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you, mods, for being here. I will go live as soon as the Alaska case starts. So it could be any minute. This is going to portal you to that stream. If you could hit that like, get it in the algorithm. Oh, thank you so much, Dark Horse Justice. Love you guys. And by the way, I might have a special guest tonight. And if I don't, make sure you're checking out Publicly Buzz. It's going to go into this case even deeper tonight at 9. I'm going to portal you into my channel. We're just going to another stream that I have set up for the Brian Smith murder trial in Alaska. A opening statement should start today. So I'm going to be streaming that. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, mods. Catch you on the opening statements of the Brian Smith murder trial, which should likely be starting any minute now.